In the small town of Greenville, Ohio, life moved slowly. Streets were quiet, neighbors knew each other by name, and most days passed without incident. But even in the calmest towns, extraordinary courage can quietly take root in the most ordinary lives. This is the story of Daniel Harper, a man whose choices would one day define what it truly means to be an American hero. Daniel wasn't born into fame or privilege. He was a firefighter, a father, and a husband, known in his community for his steady hands and calm demeanor. Neighbors described him as dependable, always willing to lend a hand or stay late to help a friend. But beneath the surface of his routine life was a man who carried a deep sense of responsibility not just for his family, but for everyone around him. Long before the moments that would make him famous, Daniel's days were filled with quiet acts of service. He trained rigorously at the firehouse, mastering every skill from ladder drills to advanced rescue techniques. He studied previous fire incidents, learning not just what to do but how to think under pressure. And at home he shared the values that would guide him: courage, calmness, and the understanding that fear is a signal, not a stop sign. One October morning, a minor fire at a local warehouse tested Daniel's instincts. Smoke filled the building, and an employee was trapped near the back exit. Without hesitation, Daniel ran into the flames, guiding the man to safety before the fire spread. It was a small rescue compared to the challenges ahead, but for Daniel it was a confirmation. Bravery wasn't about recognition, it was about action. Yet heroism is never a straight path. Daniel faced personal doubts, long nights of training, and the constant weight of responsibility. Every call, every alarm carried with it a possibility of tragedy. Many times he questioned whether he was ready for the moments he could not predict, the split-second decisions that would soon define his life. But Daniel understood something most people overlook. True courage is forged in preparation, and heroes are made in the quiet hours before the world notices. The Greenville Fire Department was small but tight-knit, a place where every member depended on the other. Daniel quickly became a leader among his peers, not through words or authority, but through example. Calm under pressure, meticulous in planning, and unwavering in commitment, he earned the trust of both his team and the community. Little did Daniel know, the real test of his courage was on the horizon: a fire that would engulf an entire apartment building, a storm of chaos and danger that would demand every skill, every ounce of calm, and every shred of bravery he possessed. In the next few days, Daniel Harper would face situations that would terrify most men, and yet he would rise to meet them, becoming the kind of hero people only read about in books or watch on the news. This is the beginning of that journey, the ordinary life of an extraordinary man and the story of courage that would inspire a nation. It was just past midnight when the alarm sounded. A massive fire had broken out at the Riverside Apartments in Greenville. Smoke poured into the night sky, visible for miles, and the distant wail of sirens cut through the quiet town. For Daniel Harper, this was no ordinary call. Every instinct told him this was going to be dangerous, but he didn't hesitate. Arriving at the scene, Daniel was met with chaos. Flames licked the exterior of the building, windows shattered from the heat, and residents screamed for help from balconies and stairwells. Most people would have frozen in fear, but Daniel's training took over. His first thought was always the same: get everyone out safely. He quickly assessed the situation. The main stairwell was engulfed in flames, trapping residents on the upper floors. Smoke was thick and suffocating, making visibility almost zero. But Daniel didn't back down. With a team of fellow firefighters at his side, he entered the inferno, guided only by his flashlight and the sound of people calling for help. The first floor was chaotic, but Daniel moved with purpose. He located a family of 4 trapped in an apartment, smoke filling the room. He instructed them to stay low, shielding them with his own body as they navigated through the burning hallway. Each step was calculated, every decision critical. The heat was intense and the danger palpable, but Daniel's focus never wavered. Upstairs, the situation was even more perilous. A young boy clung to his mother, too frightened to move, while flames spread rapidly. Daniel crawled toward them, lifting the child in his arms and leading them down the makeshift escape route. Every second mattered, every misstep could be fatal. By the time they reached the safety of the street, Daniel's suit was scorched, his lungs burned from the smoke, but the family was alive. Witnesses described the scene with awe. Children, parents, and elderly residents owe their lives to a man who refused to give in to fear. Daniel Harper wasn't acting for praise or recognition, he was acting because it was the right thing to do. His bravery in the face of overwhelming danger would become the benchmark for what real heroism looks like. But even heroes are human. After hours of fighting the fire, Daniel's body was exhausted and the weight of the experience settled in. The faces of those he rescued, their relief and gratitude, reminded him why he chose this path. Every decision, every risk, carried the power to change lives, and on that night it had. This fire would not just be another call in his career. It would mark the moment Daniel Harper became a symbol of courage and dedication, not just in Greenville but across the nation. The coming days would reveal the true impact of his actions: media coverage, community recognition, and the realization that ordinary people can rise to extraordinary heights when the moment demands it. In the next part of this story, we'll see Daniel face challenges beyond the fire itself: emotional, mental, and personal trials that would test his resolve and define the essence of his heroism. The Riverside Apartments fire had ended, but the impact of that night was far from over. Daniel Harper, once just another firefighter in Greenville, was now a man whose actions had captured the attention of the entire community. Local news outlets ran stories about his bravery, and social media quickly shared videos and testimonials praising the hero who had risked his life to save dozens. Yet for Daniel, the attention was both humbling and overwhelming. In the days following the fire, Daniel returned to the firehouse, physically exhausted but mentally alert. Every firefighter knew the toll such events could take not just on the body, but on the mind. Even heroes carry weight. The memories of those he rescued, the fear etched on the faces of residents, and the knowledge of what might have happened if he had faltered. That night replayed in his mind again and again, each memory a reminder of both his triumph and his vulnerability. Community members rallied around him. Families he had saved visited the firehouse to thank him personally. Gifts, letters, and donations poured in, a testament to the lives he had touched. Daniel accepted their gratitude with quiet humility, always redirecting praise to his team. "I didn't do it alone," he insisted. "Every firefighter here did their job. We saved those families together. But heroism comes with unseen challenges." Daniel found it difficult to sleep, haunted by the smoke, the heat, and the screams he had heard. He questioned every decision he had made, wondering if he could have done more. This is the hidden cost of courage, the emotional and psychological burden that few outside the firehouse truly understand. He began attending counseling sessions offered by the department, a step he initially resisted but eventually embraced, understanding that strength also comes from acknowledging vulnerability. Amid these personal struggles, Daniel became a symbol for the nation. Schools invited him to speak about bravery, teamwork, and service. Local government officials recognized him at public events. Even national news networks wanted interviews, portraying him as an embodiment of American courage. Yet through it all, Daniel remained grounded. He returned to his family, cherished quiet moments at home, and continued his training not for fame, but to ensure he would always be ready when danger called again. This period also revealed the deeper lessons of heroism. True courage isn't measured by accolades or viral recognition, it's measured by commitment, sacrifice, and the willingness to act when lives are on the line. Daniel's story inspired not only Greenville, but communities across the country, reminding Americans that ordinary people can rise to extraordinary challenges when guided by purpose and compassion. As Daniel looked back on that fire, he realized something profound. Heroism is never a single moment. It is a series of choices, small and large, made under pressure and risk. And while the world may celebrate the dramatic rescues, the quiet preparation, the training, and the mental fortitude that precede those moments are just as essential. In the final part of this story, we will follow Daniel Harper as he faces his next test not just of bravery, but of resilience, legacy, and the enduring spirit that defines an American hero. Months had passed since the Riverside Apartments fire, but for Daniel Harper, the lessons and memories of that night remained vivid. The recognition had calmed, yet his sense of duty had only grown stronger. Heroism, he knew, was not about fame, it was about responsibility, preparation, and the courage to act when others cannot. Then one summer evening, Greenville faced a new crisis. The river overflowed after days of relentless rain, flooding neighborhoods and trapping families in homes and vehicles. Emergency services scrambled, but the scale of the disaster was overwhelming. Roads were blocked, power lines were down, and rescue crews struggled to reach those in need. Daniel knew that every minute counted. He coordinated with the fire department, local authorities, and volunteers, creating a plan to prioritize the most dangerous situations first. Daniel waded into waist-deep water to reach stranded residents, guiding them to higher ground while offering reassurance and calm in the midst of chaos. Children clung to him, terrified yet trusting his every word. Elderly residents leaned on his shoulder as he navigated debris-filled streets. Every action demanded precision, courage, and the ability to stay composed under extreme pressure. But Daniel's true test came when he encountered a collapsed home. Inside, a mother and her young son were trapped under debris, the water rising fast. Without hesitation, he worked tirelessly, lifting beams, redirecting water, and communicating with rescue teams outside. Hours passed, his clothes soaked, body exhausted, yet his determination never wavered. Finally, he freed the family and carried them to safety. The relief in their eyes was immeasurable, a testament to the power of one person's courage. News of the flood rescues spread quickly. For many, Daniel Harper had become more than a firefighter. He was a symbol of hope and resilience. But Daniel understood that the spotlight was temporary. The true measure of heroism lies in the quiet acts that often go unseen, the late-night training sessions, the planning, the mentoring of younger firefighters, and the unwavering commitment to one's community. His actions inspired a new generation in Greenville. Volunteers signed up, citizens prepared for emergencies, and local schools began programs teaching children about courage, responsibility, and service. Daniel had not only saved lives, he had ignited a spirit of collective heroism, proving that ordinary citizens could rise to extraordinary challenges. As he returned home that evening, exhausted yet fulfilled, Daniel reflected on his journey. Heroism, he realized, is not about moments of glory. It is about choices made under pressure, about standing when others fall, and about leaving a legacy that outlives recognition. Every life saved, every family protected, every act of courage became a part of the story he would leave behind. In the end, Daniel Harper is a hero not because of a single fire or flood, but because of a lifetime dedicated to service, bravery, and compassion. His story reminds us that true American heroes walk among us every day, ordinary people who rise to the occasion, driven by courage, duty, and the unwavering desire to make a difference. And in every town, every city, and every neighborhood, there are more heroes waiting ready to answer the call, no matter how impossible it may seem. Daniel Harper's journey is proof that courage is timeless, and heroism is a choice that anyone can make.